Turns out our cocky killer here was on his way to being brain-eating Bryan, like Hannibal Lecter. The Bryan guy here was into people protein, if you know what I mean. And let me tell you, there's a whole cast of creepy characters that are out there chopping off wee-wees, cooking up coochies, serving up eyeball stew. And you can't tell me he didn't fillet that dog in the neighborhood, too.
I think he's been struggling with some of these violent impulses that he has. You know, for example, we know that he has this obsessive compulsive attitude towards food, that he's not just vegan, but he doesn't want to have anything that has been in a pot or on a plate that has touched meat. And that tells me that he might be scared that he could actually engage in cannibalism after killing somebody. So, you know, I think that the reason why it was still so bloody, with all his knowledge, was because his rage. And again, you know that I think that, and I still think the more we find out, that he's an incel, and that this was incel rage against women because of his history with women, starting in high school, well, at least starting in high school, where the girls would be bullying him and throwing things at him. I think, I don't think that they should have taken him off suicide watch. I've read some reports that they've taken him off suicide watch, and I think that that is still a possibility, that, you know, even with all this bravado, that really if he starts to think that things are looking bad for him, I think suicide is a very likely option.
Dr. Carol Lieberman, appreciate your time. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Bryan was stalking these students for a minute, enough to know that they didn't lock their doors. A lot of people don't in these rural areas. That gave him time to skin the dog. It also gave him time to come up with this plan to have his dad fly out to Washington and drive back to Pennsylvania with him as a cover. After their home was raided and their son was arrested, you know they had to say something. I'll paraphrase their statement for you. We're sorry we raised a fucking asshole. We can't say he did it because we're his parents and we're supposed to look supportive, but we know he did it. His fellow students are now coming out saying that he was just weird in class. He was rude to the women. One of them got so upset that she left the classroom without grabbing her stuff. And apparently that's the Bryan effect, because he had this effect on women at the bar too. So he wasn't wooing any women. What he was doing was trying to hone his skills by asking other criminals about their crimes. One of his professors even put him in contact with the BTK killer.
Kohberger could definitely have had communication with my father. Well, obviously, we know he studied my father in criminology classes. He probably studied him heavier since he had Ramsland as a professor. But we need to find out if there's a deeper connection. It concerns me.
A deeper connection, like if Kohberger was corresponding with BTK in prison. He would have had access because of his professor, Dr. Ramsland, who's appeared in more than 200 crime documentaries. For Carrie Rawson, the nightmare in Idaho has now come full circle.
I want to figure out how to stop it. Like, it's hard to be the kid of this guy and live with this, you know, and then see somebody else go do this and wonder, did your dad influence him? Did your dad talk to him? Like, was he studying my father outside of academics? I mean, am I ever going to get answers to that? I don't know.
All I can say is stay safe, keep your doors locked, and stop letting everybody in your damn house. There's incels out